If you're watching this on July 23rd, it's my birthday. So instead of talking career advice and resumes today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Plus, my YouTube coach has been kind of bugging me to post something a little bit more personal rather than just being the career robot. So I ran a poll on Instagram and the winner was clear. How I met my husband and a few fun dating stories. So for a fun and hopefully for a good laugh, I'm going to share 3 quick dating stories featuring the fighter, the drunk, and the most boring guy in the world. And then yes, stick around for the end for the happy ending and some unsolicited marriage advice. Also, comment below and tell me which one of these dating stories you resonate with or happen to you as well, because I cannot be the only one with stories like this. So unlike many people I know, and especially a lot of girls, when I was in my 20s and 30s, marriage was just never a priority for me. I often felt like if it happened, it happened. If not, that's okay too. I just knew of too many bad marriages, and that wasn't for me. Now, while it wasn't a priority, I still went on some dates over the years because, again, if it happened, it happened. And I did believe it could be a good tradition. And also, considering I didn't meet Victor, my husband, until I was 39, you can imagine the wide array of dating stories, aka dating nightmares that I have. So I'm going to share 3 quick stories in this video and then talk about Victor. And please keep this a no judgment zone. They were just dates. Story number 1, the fighter. Let's call him Rocky. So back in my 30s, I gave Match.com a try, and actually most of the dates actually led to round 2, including Rocky. So our first date was fun. I was actually excited about the second date. So I met him at one of those bars with a lot of games, like pool, darts, the giant Jenga, a place like that. Dinner was great. We had good conversation, had a couple drinks. It was fun. Until then he decided to switch to just drinking whiskey straight. Slammed a couple of those pretty quickly. We were playing pool. We won the first game. And that's when I noticed his really ultra competitive side come out. He started getting loud. He started getting sweaty. He started talking trash to random people. He was kind of just transforming into somebody completely different. So when you play pool, if you win, you get to stay on the table. So the next round up, we're playing 2 guys, and they were just kind of making small talk with me. Rocky was really good at pool, so he was kind of on the table for a bit. It was nothing weird, except Rocky was just kind of glaring over at us occasionally. Then suddenly he just drops his pool cue, storms over to us, and chest bumps one of the guys that was talking, and he was ready to fight. So, red flag number 1. I eventually pull him away. I call the game. I'm like, let's just get out of here. Again, I'm noticing the whiskey kicking in big time. So as we get away from the table, he did calm down, but instead of apologizing for his little outburst, he blamed the other guys for not being Southern gentlemen, and they were being very disrespectful. So at this point, I'm kind of checked out, but he's like, let's go over here. Let's play some darts. He orders some water. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he'll calm down and reset a little bit. And one little detail on Rocky, he was a really good looking guy. He was dressed kind of preppy. I just remember he had this white sweater on with stripes. So anyway, I share that detail for a purpose. So we are going to go play some darts, and he walks up to grab the darts out of the board. And just as he says that, another guy walks up and jokes to us and says, "Hey, Abercrombie, want some competition?" So while I think it's kind of funny because I can actually see him on one of the bags at an Abercrombie store, Rocky did not care for this and snapped again. He pushes the guy against the wall and just holds him there. From there, I just bounced. I was out of the place. I was done. I left, walked down. We were in a strip mall. I called an Uber and never looked back. Okay, story number 2, the drunk. Let's call him Jose. So this was a blind date set up from a family friend that I've known for years. I meet him at a Mexican restaurant, and he's already halfway through a margarita when I get there. So I look at the time. I'm like, we said 6:30, right? He's like, yeah, I just got here 45 minutes early. Okay. So he was already kind of tipsy, and instead of ordering food, he suggests we play darts for tequila shots. So I get it, another dart story. I hung out in a lot of bars back in the day. But actually, this story is about a decade before Rocky. So we never order food. He continues to slam margaritas and just getting sloppier and slurring. So I say, hey, why don't we go to this other bar? I was living in Milwaukee at the time. The Bucks were in the playoffs. Let's go to the sports bar and watch that and get some food. So I offered to drive because safety. On the way to the car, he attempted to kiss me, but he basically ate my whole face. So I'm kind of laughing. But anyway, I decided to give him one more chance because, again, It was set up by a family friend. On the not even 10-minute drive to the next place, he asked to stop at a gas station to use the restroom. He comes out with condoms. And then he's like, hey, let's find a hotel. So I laughed out loud. I remember literally laughing out loud. I turn around, I drop him off at his car, and just prayed he made it home that night. Second chance did not happen. There were actually way more details to that story. I'm just going to save you the time. Let's move on to story number 3. The most boring guy in the world. Let's call him Dusty. So Dusty was another friend's setup. He was in a band. So I thought, okay, this should be interesting. I also meet him at a restaurant, and wow, I feel like I can talk to anybody. I can carry on a conversation to people I just met. But this guy, it was awful. It was like I caught myself just like staring like into space, like, is this guy really like just that dull? Maybe he was nervous, I don't know, but it was dreadful. Then suddenly we're eating and I look around. It was an empty restaurant at this point, so just me in the most boring restaurant with the most boring guy in the world. This next point is going to make me sound kind of bad, but I know I'm not the only one who does this. So I had a friend on standby for this exact situation. I texted her our code word. She called me and she's like, I have an emergency. Can you please pick up my son from work? So the funny part is she was living in Wisconsin. I was in Texas at the time, but we're playing it off, right? I didn't care. I was just so bored. I just started questioning time itself. But I started giggling because I'm laughing at how ridiculous this is. And I kind of feel bad, but I was kind of just like, get me out of here as well. So I faked the emergency. I just told Dusty, like, I have to go. My friend needs me to pick up her son. And honestly, I didn't even regret it because I'm like, why am I wasting this guy's time too, right? So may make me sound bad, but let me know if you have one of those emergency code words with a friend for bad dates. I know I'm not the only one. Bad story time over. Let's talk about the happy ending. So I met my husband, Victor, thanks to our beautiful mutual friend, Michelle, in Dallas. He was living in LA. I was in Dallas, and he happened to be in Dallas for work. He flew into Dallas on a Saturday. I was already at Michelle's, and he was meeting there. They had plans that night, and I knew Michelle had to work an event the next day on that Sunday. So I asked Victor what he had planned. He had nothing to do, so I invited him to a Packers bar, knowing full well he was a Bears fan, and I knew he would hate it. If you know football at all, the Packers and Bears are big-time rivals. So I was actually surprised, but the next day he met me there. The game was at noon. We had a good time. I was meeting up with some other friends too. The Packers won, but we hit it off. And we actually each put in $5 for the 50-50 raffle at the bar and won about $400. And we had said if we win, we're going to meet up with Michelle and go to the Cowboys game that night. That was where she was going to be working. So altogether, we ended up spending about 12 hours together that day. And then he was in town for work, like I said, but it was also Michelle's birthday that week. We had a few fun events planned for her birthday, so I saw him a few more times as well. In short, we just hit it off. So fast forward, we ended up dating long distance for a year, and then I eventually moved to California. And a year after that, we eloped while we were on a trip in Tanzania. So we got married in December of 2018. And over COVID, we ended up traveling a lot. We were kind of nomads for a couple of years. And then since then, we have now settled in Chicago. I'm originally from Wisconsin. He has family in Chicago. So it's really nice being close to our families again. People often ask if we have kids, and we do not. We were pregnant a couple different times, all ending in a loss. Those were incredibly tough, dark times. There's not really a word for it, but I feel like while sometimes those situations kind of tear couples apart, I think those situations got us even closer. And now we live for each other and we travel a lot. My business is my baby, and we're really happy. And one other funny thing about us is since we've been together, we've lived in a tiny studio. We've worked at the same company. We used to have to commute every day, 90 days there and back. Now we work from home together. So he literally jokes we are always within 30 feet of each other day and night, and it works. So I wanted to share 3 pieces of marriage advice. I think one thing that helped, we both were 40 when we got married and had never been married before. So we have a unique situation. But just to give some advice, because I think if I were any younger, I maybe wasn't thinking this way. So 1, don't rush love. Just wait for it. This kind of goes with your career too, I say a lot. I said I wasn't going to talk about that, but I did. But if it doesn't feel right, do not force it. Another way of thinking is date 20 people, not one person 20 times. You hear about those couples that always break up and get back together, break up. No. And number 3, choose somebody you want to be with, not somebody you feel like you need to be with. There's a big difference. And that's how you really build a true partnership and that best friend relationship. So again, I spent a lot of years wondering when Mr. Right was going to come around, if he was going to show up, but I'm so glad I never settled. Every awkward date and heartbreak and path I took brought me to where I was meant to be. One last piece of advice, whether you're dating, you're married, you're single, you're divorced, or somewhere in between all of that, remember there's no perfect timeline for any of this. You're not late, you're not early, you're just on your own path. If you like this video, it's a little bit different, you get to know a little bit more about me, please like the video. I won't do many of these unless you have other topics you'd like for me to talk about, but otherwise I'd love to hear from you too. In the comments, have you ever dated a Rocky, a Jose, or a Dusty? I'd love to share stories, I think they're hilarious. So I know you probably came here for more career advice, but hopefully this gave you a chance to get to know me a little bit more too. So thanks for hanging out with me on my birthday. Have a great day. And if you did come here for career advice, I have many more of those videos coming too. I'll see you in the next one.